everybody! This is You Brought Me Home on Tumblr, aka Lisa. And if you've probably noticed in my title card, I've come up with a new name for this YouTube channel. It used to be in reference to Captain Hook Podcast and Captain Swan Podcast, but since that's already over with, and Once Upon a Time is no longer with us, I have now decided to call myself 80s Child. Because, well, I'm a child of the 80s, so. And I think a lot of the stuff I'm going to be reviewing with these videos is things having to do with the 80s culture, 80s kitsch, 80s movies, 80s TV shows, things like that. Things that I remember growing up with. But alongside that, I will also be reviewing television shows from today that I enjoy watching. So, back to it then. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 2 of Suits, Pecking Order. Okay. Well, I was going to do this yesterday, but I was trying to figure out After Effects and Photoshop to make these videos look nicer. Anyway, this episode. Okay. This episode. I was starting to wonder what was going to happen when Samantha Wheeler and Donna met. And I knew it was going to be a clash of personalities because Samantha's a very alpha female, like, you know, I don't give a shit about anybody else but myself, and I'm going to do things the way that I want to do them, and fuck all y'all. And Donna is alpha, but in a different way. She's like Mama Wolf, kind of. Her pack is the firm and everybody in it, and that's her family, and she doesn't like being fucked with. And she also doesn't like being looked upon as something less than what she is. And Samantha Wheeler definitely did it in this episode, that's for sure. So we already know at the end of the last episode that there's some growing pains going on, how exactly Robert Zane's firm was going to fit into the Spectre-lit ethos. The whole merger is still happening, and some little bits and pieces of it are still happening in episode 2 as well. More specifically, partner naming and some things going on with Lewis having to do with the partnership, which I will deal with later. And by the way, oh my god, Lewis, god damn Lewis, but I will get to Lewis later. And also how all these characters interact together. It's not just the firm that's having some growing pains and learning how to deal with this new outside entity coming in. It's also the actors within the firm, the lawyers, the partners, the associates, learning how to deal and cope with all of the outside people from Zane's firm coming in and how they differ in comparison to how Pearson and Spectre, or how Spectre Lit works. I can't believe I keep saying Pearson. Too soon. Anyhow. So the big issue that stems right now, it's not necessarily Zane and Harvey working together, because they kind of work things out. They came to an agreement with what they want to do as far as naming the firm and, whose clients are going to go where. That's kind of been settled, but the issue is Samantha Wheeler. She is the outlier, because it seems like all of Zane's people have kind of merged their way into the firm without making much of a hoopla. But Samantha Wheeler is an entity unto herself. She answers to nobody but Robert Zane. And she will say that what she's doing is for the good of the firm, but it's hard to believe anything that comes out of her mouth, especially when, as you will see in the course of the episode, no one can get a good lock on her because she always tells people, everybody she meets, she tells them something different about her past. So one person thinks she's MI6, another person thinks that she went to the Sorbonne, one person thought she went to a trade school and then to law school, blah, 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 so on and so forth. No one knows what the truth is because she always gives each person different details. And it seems like she doesn't want anybody to really know anything about herself. She just gives them enough to reel them in. She learns how to identify with the people that she's talking to, and then she tailors her background to reel them in. But who she really is, that's all in here, and she doesn't let that out to anybody. So, in this episode, and I just want to give a really big shout out to the writers for continuing to keep Mike and Rachel within the context of the show, even though they're not there. This time they did drop a lot of Mike stuff in there. One of Mike's old clients, Max, came by, and Harvey remembered who he was, which is a big deal because a lot of times, once Harvey's done with Mike's clients, they're gone. So, it just shows a growth in his character that he's remembering these clients and that even the smaller ones, and he's not only working to protect their companies, but he's also working to protect them as people. Mike, that's the gift that Mike gave him. He opened his heart so that Harvey would understand and learn how to actually care about these people, and not just in reference to how many billable hours that they can make for the firm or how good they can make the firm look, but caring about them as people, wanting to make sure that, they had whatever they needed and that they were safe, that the people who worked for them were safe, that their companies were safe. That, I think, is a lasting gift that Mike gave him that I don't think he will ever lose. And I'm so glad for it because Harvey had a hard time opening his heart to other people and empathizing with people because he was in such this I want power thing, and he kind of forgot who he was along the way. Mike, I think, kind of reminded him of who he used to be and who he missed being. So anyway, Max shows up and he says to Harvey that he and his business partner, the business that they have is great. It's taken off. They're completely rich, but they both decided to start a new business, like a side venture. And in order to get this business off the ground, they have to raise $100 million worth of capital. And the problem was they could only account for 50 million of it. Half of it is missing, and this guy is literally freaking out because he's afraid that if the investors come calling, they're going to wonder where the money is, and how are we going to get this business started up? We can wind up going to prison. So, he's terrified that not just for himself, but for the people that work for him, for his business partner, for all of these things that are tied up in this deal. And Harvey assures him, not a problem. We will take care of it. Now, Zane is in the office when they're having this conversation because they were, discussing some more partnership stuff. And Zane, this is another one of those growing pain things. Zane has a different way of looking at things than Harvey does. Harvey is there to protect his clients and not just their businesses, but protect them as people because he genuinely cares. Zane, maybe he used to at one time when he was younger, but I'm not so sure about that anymore because all Zane looks at is dollar signs. This guy, he immediately assumed that he must be lying, that he must be trying to pull one over on the firm by lying about what really happened to this disappearing cash flow. Whereas Harvey, who knows Max from the past, from when he first became their client, he knows who Max really is, and he knows that Max would not do something like that. This is my issue with Zane. He's trying to preside over everything and make assumptions about clients without really knowing them. I mean, I would assume that Harvey would not make presumptions about Zane's long-standing clients without knowing them first either. So it's really not fair for Zane to do the same thing to Harvey. And, Harvey said to him, look, you got your clients, I've got mine. Leave it at that. You take care of yours, and I take care of mine, period. Because really, Zane doesn't know who Max really is. He just knows what's, the legal logistics. He doesn't know, personally, the type of person Max is. So, on the other side of things, we have Lewis. Now, Harvey and Zane have already come to terms with whose name is going to be on the wall. As a matter of fact, the reason why Harvey was in the office in the first place was, to ask Zane if he had finished moving out, if everything was okay, going to the managing partner's office, and they seemed fine with it. Lewis does not know that they came to this agreement. This was something that happened very late in the day in last episode. Lewis was not there. So they still have to tell him. And at first I thought they were going to be like, oh, because Lewis, how he takes things. But Lewis seemed on top of the world. He's got his girlfriend, Sheila. He's got his wonderful house. They're going to try to have a child together. He's in a firm he loves. His life is grand. And then Sheila just, she's got everything laid out. She wants to sex him up in the evening, or maybe in the afternoon. She wants him to come to her office and, take her like a managing partner would, and they'll play managing partner and secretary, and I don't need that visual, but anyway. Lewis is struggling to tell her that I'm not managing partner yet, but she's assuming that he will be once he goes to work, that the three of them will sit down and he'll put the screws to Harvey and say, yeah, I want to be managing partner. But what she doesn't realize is that this isn't necessarily something that Lewis wants. She's only assuming that that's what he wants. And according to Lewis, it's because Sheila's always been attracted to power. That's one of the reasons why she likes Lewis, is because he's in a position of power. And he's terrified that if he doesn't accept the managing partnership, that she will not love him. And that her love may only be superficial as long as he has that position. So when he goes into the office to discuss the whole partnership deal, he doesn't even get a word in edgewise, and Harvey's just like, here's the partnership agreement. Lewis, could you please sign it and make sure it gets to Donna? It's already been a done deal. It's been decided. They don't even give him a chance to speak. And at that point, okay, I know in the past Lewis has been something of a douche, and he's one of those acquired tastes, you either love him or you don't. But recently, within the last, I would say 2 seasons, Lewis has really changed. His character development is just through the roof. I really like the person that Lewis has become. And I feel like I understand a little bit more his point of view about why he feels like they don't see him. Because literally, he's a managing partner. His name is the third name on the wall. But he walks in and they act like he's not even there. They just hand him the stack of papers and expect him to sign it, and that he'll agree with it and be fine. Now, even though he generally doesn't want to be managing partner, that's not the point. The point is they didn't even discuss it with him. They acted like his stake in the firm didn't even matter. And it's not as though Lewis hasn't worked his ass off to get there. Granted, look, I understand that they don't feel like his name is legitimately up there because of the shit he pulled before. But since then, he has earned it. He has fucking earned it. And what he said was true. They wouldn't have a firm if it wasn't for him. He worked his ass off to keep this firm alive. I'm not saying that Harvey didn't. But believe me, if you remember what happened last season, Lewis had a lot to do with that. And if it wasn't for his hard work, the firm might not even be there right now. And they don't even recognize that. Which is a little frustrating, honestly. So, Anyway, we'll get more to that side plotline in a minute. So Zane is trusting Harvey to take care of this Max business, but at the same time, he feels like Harvey might be too close to it because he's obviously friends with Max. He has a soft spot for him. And he feels like Harvey's not going to do his best work without a little nudge. So Harvey goes over to this building where Max's business partner is working. It's an office building, and they're doing some construction work things, and he's overseeing it. And Harvey's about to... my feelings, I think that Harvey was trying to bait him to see how he would react. He was kind of trying to test him to see if he was going to grab the bait. And this would tell Harvey whether or not Max's partner was dirty. But before he was able to even finish doing what he was trying to do, Hurricane Samantha saunters in the fucking room with a briefcase full of money. Now, before this scene happened, Samantha went to Donna with a form to requisition funds. She said it was an expense account. Donna takes one look at this and is like, excuse me, what? I'm assuming that she was asking for a metric fuck ton of cash. Probably somewhere in, over $1 million. Donna's like, yeah, no, I could give you half of this, but this is too much. Nobody in the firm, even Harvey, doesn't get this much of an expense account. Are you kidding? And all Samantha can say is, well, that's what I got when I worked for Robert Zane at his firm. Well, sweetie pie, congratulations, but you're not working at Robert Zane's firm anymore. This is Zane Spectorlet. We have rules here. Now, the way that this whole scene went down, you could tell that as soon as Samantha walked in the room, that it was kind of like the two of them testing each other to see, because this is literally the first time that either of them have met. So you could tell that Samantha's hairs were up, Donna's ears were up, and she did not like what she was seeing, especially when Samantha made a massive boo-boo. She called Donna Harvey's assistant. This happens later, but you could tell it's what she was thinking. She was looking down on Donna and not really respecting her position as COO. She was treating her like she was still a secretary. Not that what she was doing when she was Harvey's secretary was, lowly, but the way she was treating her, even though she started out that way, everybody treated her with massive respect, much more than what a secretary would normally get, because she's Donna. And there's nobody else like Donna in the world. Of course, Samantha doesn't know her the way everyone else does, so she immediately looks down on her like she's a peon. And doesn't really understand who Donna is and what her place is in this firm and amongst these people. So Donna's like, no, I'll give you half. That's it. And it looks like Samantha's sucking it up, but you have to remember this is Samantha. And from last episode, when she kind of did the same thing. You thought she was sucking it up, but you also kind of knew in the same vein that, yeah, this wasn't over yet. And we're right, because she shows up at the construction site like a bull in a china shop with the briefcase full of millions of dollars. So she obviously went above Donna's head to Zane to get authorization for the extra funds, and proceeded to put her foot in her mouth and up her ass at the same time. because she didn't let Harvey finish what he was trying to do, this whole testing thing he was trying to do, whatever response that this guy gave probably wasn't legitimate. First of all, he knows Harvey, but he doesn't know who Samantha is. So she really doesn't know how to approach him. She approaches him in her way, the way she would do. And she's assuming that the response that she got was legit. That because he didn't immediately open up his books to her, that, oh, he's shady. Now, whether or not she's right, even if she is right, it doesn't matter. The fact is that this is not her client. And if she was genuinely trying to help Harvey out, she really could have come about it in a different way. She could have come to him on the side before he went there and said, hey, why don't we do this together? You lead, because this is your client and you know him better than I do. This is what I want to do. Let's figure out how to do it together. Then you go in. You don't just run in like a out of control locomotive and bowl him over in front of his client. Because one, it's embarrassing. And two, it's fucking frustrating because Harvey's the type of person who likes to take care of things on his own. And I know sometimes there are some things that he can't do. And sometimes he really does need help. And I also know a lot of times he doesn't like to accept that fact. If you come at him in a certain kind of way and explain, hey, I think it would work better if we did this together, let's sit down and figure out a strategy, he would probably be a hell of a lot more accepting of it rather than her sauntering her ass in there and acting like she owns the place. I mean, seriously? Samantha? Seriously? Like, really? So, while this is going on, Alex is bound and determined that he is going to get his name up on that wall. So, he goes to Zane himself and he says, okay, you know I want my name up on that wall. What do I got to do to make it happen? At first he says, why don't you and I go golfing? And, maybe we can hit it off and come to an agreement. Zane's like, nah, I don't care about your golf game. You want to impress me? Money, 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 money. Land me a client. A big, juicy client. So Zane offers him a little bum and says, here, take this client. And this client is, he owns a small airline, I believe. So he throws Alex that bone and says, if you can land me this big client, especially considering that this guy used to be Samantha's client when she was, before we merged, then you've got a real shot. So he goes over there to talk to this guy, and it turns out that the guy's open to it, but he has a test. He says to him, if you want to be my attorney and keep me on as a client, then you're going to have to fix a little problem for me. And Alex immediately is like, yo, I've already been down this whole illegal road before. I'm breaking no goddamn laws. But he's like, no, it's not about that. This is about a more personal nature. If you can handle this for me and get me what I want, then you've got me as a client. And it turns out the guy's getting divorced. The divorce is very, very contentious. And he's having a custody battle with his wife. He wants Alex to help him win whatever it is that he wants custody of, which turns out to be a very expensive painting. A painting that the wife can't fucking stand, but she's holding it hostage basically for ransom. She's holding it until he gives her what she wants. And the negotiations are not going very well. So if Alex can get him what he wants, basically the painting, without him having to sacrifice a whole bunch of shit to his ex-wife, then he will consider that a win and stay on as their client. So he proceeds to go to a swanky party where the wife is at to talk to her. And at first she kind of ingratiates herself with him because she thinks that he's a client. When she finds out that he's representing her husband, she's like, "You can leave now. Bye." But Alex being Alex, and the fact that he knows how to talk to people, he gets her to understand that he's here to help them negotiate about this painting. Well, at the end of the day, he manages to win this client. But because of the situation that Zane is in with Samantha, and the fact that Samantha has pretty much demanded her name go up on that wall by the end of the month, yeah, it's going to be a fight. So while all this is going on, in the back of it all, we have Lewis, who is quietly freaking out because he's unable to perform for Sheila. Sheila thinks that he went to work and got in Harvey's face and demanded to be made managing partner. So when he came to see her at her office in the afternoon, she assumed that it was done. It was a done deal and that he was managing partner. And he didn't know how to tell her that when he showed up, they had already signed the papers and he never even got a word in. He's too afraid that if she thinks he doesn't have power, that she's going to leave him. So they're about to do the nookie on the desk, and he has this weird hallucination with Zane and Harvey standing there berating him for being less of a man. And that was painful. Like, really painful. I know that Lewis does a lot of stupid shit at times, and usually he's the one that gets himself into his own messes. But more often than not, they also treat him like crap a lot. They underestimate him. They don't give him the credit that he deserves a lot of the time. And then to have, even though it wasn't real, to me feel like you're less of a man because you don't have the managing partner title. It's just not right. So he's unable to perform, and he's freaking out, so he goes to see Lipschitz, his psychologist, and Lipschitz tells him what we already know, that the reason why he can't perform is not because he needs Viagra, it's because he knows he's lying, and it's on his mind too much, he can't concentrate. He needs to tell Sheila the truth. He's so terrified that if he tells her the truth, she's going to leave him. And turns out he knew Sheila better than she even knew herself. Because when he went home that night and he told her the truth, that by the time he got to the office they had already signed the papers, first she was upset that he hadn't been honest. Then she was upset that he didn't get managing partner. Then she was upset that because she felt like he was settling when he told her that it doesn't really matter that he didn't get it because he never wanted it in the first place. It wasn't his thing. He was happy where he is as named partner. That's where he wants to be. And she didn't believe him. She thought he was settling for something less. So she herself, when she finds out that, the psychologist gave him the advice to tell her the truth, she goes to Lipschitz, pretending to be somebody else, to berate him for telling Lewis to do that. And once Lipschitz realizes that she's Sheila, he's like, yo, I already told you over the phone that, that this is unethical. I can't see you because Lewis is my patient. But he does manage to tell her that Lewis knows her a lot better than she knows herself. And when she says to him that she can't understand why he would not want managing partner because it's something that he's always wanted, he says to her, well, perhaps that situation has changed. Do you think maybe there's something else he wants more? And at first she thinks he's talking about a baby, but there's something in his life he's found that's much more important than managing partner. And that's the love of his life, Sheila. And the look on her face when she realizes what an idiot that she's been this whole time. Well, needless to say, by the end of the episode, she definitely apologizes to him for being so stupid. And she has all the candles laid out, and the lights turned low, and her little sexy frock on. They definitely get the on. But this time it's much more honest and truthful. And now they've decided they're actively trying to have a child. So I'm very happy that Lewis's life is going well. This gives him the motivation the next day to walk into the office. This has got to be one of the best scenes I have ever seen in this show. Just because it's Lewis, after all these years, he finally gives them the what for. Zane and Harvey. He's like, look, I don't want to be managing partner, but that's not the point. When I walked in here the other day, you didn't even give me a chance to get a word in edgewise. You just threw the papers at me and told me to sign them like I was nothing. My name is on that wall just as much as yours is, and I worked just as hard as you to get it there. Not only that, but if it wasn't for me, we wouldn't even have a firm. Because of the situation that the firm was in season 7, more or less because of Harvey's, fuck-ups. If it wasn't for Lewis, the firm might not even exist. Especially after Mike went to prison and everybody at the firm quit. It was Lewis's ideas that saved them from going under when there was only 6 people left at the firm. So, and the fact that they have never even acknowledged that just irritates me. It really irritates me. So, he has his piece. He says his piece to them, and to look on it. I wasn't shocked. The fact that he actually did that. And he didn't come off as being unreasonable or unhinged. Everything he said was absolutely true. And he didn't do it in a freaky, I'm going to hit you in the face way. He was being honest. He was coming at it from in here, telling them what his truth was. What shocked me more than anything was Harvey did not say one single word. And normally when Lewis gets like that, Harvey's always in his face, Lewis, stop, He didn't say not one goddamn word. He just let it go. He just let Lewis say his piece, and he actually looked contrite, he felt he looked like he felt like shit. Yeah, Harvey, you should feel like shit. Because he's right. You treat him like crap. I know you guys have come to an agreement, especially, since Mike was put in prison and everything, but still, there are times when you treat him like he doesn't exist, and it's not right. Y'all need to come to an even keel. You guys sat there at that table at the restaurant and made fun of him like he was nothing, even though his name is up there on that wall. It's bullshit. So Harvey turns to Zane and he's like, Lewis is going to be a problem, right? I'm like, what problem? He's not asking for the end of the world. He's not asking to become managing partner. He just wants you to treat him like he's like an equal. That's it. How is this a difficult thing? Honestly, sometimes Harvey's his own worst enemy. So, anyway, back to the A story. Samantha just keeps stepping in the shit, the whole episode, stepping in it. She has pissed Harvey off to the point where he is about to rip her face off because he has told her, do not try to get Max to bow out of the company. Don't try to get him to resign, because Max is totally freaking out. They went over to his place. He was considering calling cops and, getting a lawyer because he was afraid he was going to get sued. And or worse yet, get put in prison. And he was trying to prepare, and they're like, no, don't do that. We will get you out of this, and it will be like it never even happened. Harvey managed to get him to listen, but Samantha, being Samantha, went behind his back and had a little secret conversation with him of her own. And as a result, Max resigned from the company and totally screwed up Harvey's plans, like completely. And it's at this point that Harvey literally blows his top. One of my other favorite scenes in this episode was a scene between Donna and Samantha in the bathroom. Usually it's between Donna and Harvey in the bathroom, but this time it's Donna and Samantha. And Samantha's like, why'd you have to pull this shit? Is this all just because I asked you for a little bit of money? And again, she's talking down to her like Donna's less. And she's like, oh no, sorry. You are not going there with me. Donna definitely gives her the what for. Says, look, from the moment you've stepped into this firm, you have run over everybody like a hurricane and a locomotive and a bull in a china shop all wrapped in one. If you come at Harvey like that and run over his clients without trying to work with him, all he's going to do is continue to be pissed at you until the point comes when he tosses you out on your ass. And that's the point where Harvey's at. He's ready to fire her because he's tired of her shit. So while Donna is berating Samantha in the bathroom, Harvey goes and has a word with Zane. Well, more than a word, a few words, loud words. He's like, look, this shit is not happening. I told you I will take care of my own clients. I do not need you constantly hovering over me like a motherfucking hen just because you're managing partner. And especially not with her. Because the way that she does business, she bowled in like a locomotive fucking freight train and she fucked up my client. Zane is afraid that, Harvey is taking this too personally and that he's, because he's got a soft spot for Max and that he's, concerned more about caring about the client than he is about the company. And he's like, look, I know what I'm doing. You need to fix her because this is not going to work. If she keeps pulling this shit, she's gone. Period. Gone. And Zane knows Harvey doesn't fuck around. At all. So he goes into her office and reads her the riot act. He's like, look, I know I told you to help him, not fuck him over. You can't, look, I know what you're trying to do, but if you want him to see what I see in you and how indispensable you are, you have to prove it to him. You have to show it to him the right way. You have to come at him the right way, not like this. Because you're just running all over him and his client without letting him get a word in. Harvey's not going to accept that. It's his client. You have to come at him not from a perspective of, I'll do this for you. No, we will do this together. So, now Samantha understands a little bit where Harvey's coming from. So she realizes that if she's going to get him to feel better about working together, she's going to have to extend an olive branch. So she does a little bit of work, and she comes to him with a file and says, look, I know that I kind of came at you the wrong way. We got off on the wrong foot, or multiple wrong feet. Now I would like to fix it. I genuinely have the firm's and the client's best interests at heart. Harvey doesn't buy it. Harvey thinks that she only cares about herself and nobody fucking else, because she really hasn't shown that she does. So she gives him the file and says, I think this will work. I'm not saying that you should use it, but I think it will help. Why don't we work together and figure out how we're going to do this? And because she comes at it from that way, Harvey's like, okay, let's work together. And they do. And they manage to, let's say, yes, it's true. At the end of the day, Samantha was right. The partner was shady. But by working with Harvey, they were able to save the business, prevent the partner from going to prison, as well as Max, and also teach his business partner a lesson at the same time to ensure that he will never do his investors like that again, ever. Now, number one favorite scene of the episode, there was a small scene where Harvey is looking at the firm's name sign, and Donna walks up behind him and says, if you want the elevator to come to you, there's this thing called call button that lets it come up, But that's not really why he's there. She's just kidding. They have a little convo about the issues with Samantha, and then she leaves and Samantha shows up. She gets in a little tete-a-tete with Harvey, and she's assuming that the reason why Harvey is upset is because, Samantha got into a fight with his precious Donna about the money, about the fact that Donna wouldn't authorize all those funds. No, he's mad that she went over Donna's head to Zane and requisitioned the funds anyway. Basically, I think like Donna didn't even exist. And then she calls Donna Harvey's assistant, which confirms to me that she does not respect Donna one iota. She looks down upon Donna as nothing more than a peon. Oh, honey. Bad move. If there's one thing that you learn about Harvey Specter, it's that you do not badmouth Donna Paulson in his presence. Well, you don't badmouth Donna Paulson at all, but especially not in his presence. Well, needless to say, he schooled her on that one. So, I don't know how she's going to, how it's going to work with her going forward. I mean, I don't think she's going to change anytime soon. But considering what happened at the end of the episode, I think that, now Zane was forced to tell Harvey about his deal with Samantha, about her wanting her name up on the wall. And Harvey's like, but I already promised Alex. I promised him a long time ago. He's worked hard for this. So now they're kind of at odds. We got two of them, one on either side, that are competing to have their name on the wall. And I feel like both partners are being held up by the crosshairs, by the short hairs here. Zane, because I have a bad feeling that if he doesn't give her her name on the wall, that she might have some info on him. Oh, speaking of info, well, Donna has had it up to here with Samantha. So she goes to Gretchen. Always love seeing Gretchen. She's so funny. So funny. And she says to her, you have more contacts than I do. I've already, gone everywhere to try to find more information on Samantha, and all I run into is roadblocks because she tells everybody something different. But you have more contacts than these, and maybe you can find some stuff out. So she goes and talks to Katrina, because Katrina worked with Samantha when she, worked for Zane. And Katrina says to her, now, I know you might not want to hear this, but yes, it's true that sometimes Samantha doesn't come off very well to people, but she's the real deal, and she's not someone that you want to cross. And she also works her ass off. Like she knows her shit, and she does it well. She's a force to be reckoned with. But she is the real deal. You just have to know how to work with her, sort of. I know not everybody can. She says that, like Lewis, she's an acquired taste. You either love her or you hate her. There's no in between. So Donna is kind of like, what do I do with that? Because she has to work with her, but at the same time, she doesn't appreciate the way that Samantha's coming at her. So I have a feeling that as the episodes pan out, we're going to see a lot more tete-a-tetes between Samantha and Donna. Some more head-to-head between Samantha and Harvey. Definitely some dust-ups between Samantha and Alex. Because now that Alex knows that he's got competition for his name up on that wall, things is going to get nasty with a swiftness. Okay, guys. Well, I would definitely rate this episode. Oh, this episode was good. 4 out of 4. Just for the Lewis shit alone. Oh my god. 4 out of 4. So, I will see you guys next week for Suits episode 3. And I hope you guys enjoy my new title card with my new name at the beginning. If you guys like these reviews, if you want to see more, subscribe button right there. Okay, bye guys.